In a world where gaming is everything, welcome to the Extreme Gaming Podcast.
Anyway, Extreme Gaming Podcast, episode 267. Today's February 13th, 2025. We're recording it. I'd like to introduce everybody. I'm GreyGamer25, and you guys are?
Hi, it's Trev here. Hello.
That was it? Just hi, Trev. Hello.
Yes, that's my name. I believe it says at the bottom left there. It's Trev, yes.
And?
Hi, Trev. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. I'm Tal. How you doing, everybody? Thanks again for having me.
Howdy, Tarl. Listen, Matt's a little under the weather, so he's taking the day off, and he'll be back with us next week. But three of us are moving along, and we have his back, and hi, Matt. So we're all going to do our thing. In any case, to go on a little bit, our Discord is discord.gg/Extreme Gaming Podcast. If you'd like to join the Discord, you can talk to any of us there. We talk about all kinds of stuff, mostly gaming and hardware, but we also talk entertainment and other stuff and Star Trek and whatever else comes to mind. So you can always reach us there. Game night, we say unofficially Tuesdays at 8 p.m. GMT, but that's because I'd say about 85% of the time we're always playing something co-op on a Tuesday. Occasionally it might be a Wednesday. So we try our best. So generally speaking, you can catch us those days gaming some kind of co-op game. We pick a different one sometimes or stick with one if we like it and then move along to a different one next time. YouTube, you can catch us on there. Extreme Gaming Podcast. Facebook, Extreme Gaming Podcast. TikTok, everywhere but here in the U.S. where I am, Extreme Gaming Podcast. And X is just Extreme Podcast because somebody stole the gaming. So we just took that one. But how you guys been?
Your keyboard.
The what?
Sorry.
I didn't even hear it. Don't worry about it. The Riverside takes it right out. So just a little lighter tap, but otherwise it's.
I was really trying to type quietly as well, like the tiniest little presses.
We need Gray to work with you with the mic side of things. He says he's the pro.
I didn't hear
know.
It actually. Here, tap on it again.
Gray was the pro with the mics when it was back in like black and white days when it's hand crank like radios and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Steam powered mics.
The tubes. Remember tube radios and tube TVs? Actually, the funny thing is I do remember that because my dad repaired tube TVs and tube radios way back. So
I remember those.
Oh yeah, and the reason why I remember a lot of that because I used to see him go to the corner store and he would take the vacuum tubes with him and he would put it in the tester. They had like a little tester. You plug it in. If the tester said it was good, then he had a good tube and he could use it on the repair. And then the other thing I remember is we didn't have color TV. We didn't have enough money to have a color TV way back in like the late 60s or whatever.
Was your TV in one of those big like wooden cabinets that was like just took up the entire side of the room? No,
we couldn't afford. We had like 12-inch black and whites and maybe 15-inch black and whites. That's about it. And then the one day when we got a Sony Trinitron 20-inch, 22-inch color, it was like, holy crap.
Oh, damn. You know what? All the retro gamers love those Sony Trinitrons.
Yeah, they were big. But prior to the Trinitron, when we couldn't afford anything but the black and white TVs, my dad, since he was repairing TVs, he found an old color television that this person was tossing. So he said, I'll take it, and they said, okay, you can have it. So he took it, figured out which vacuum tubes were bad, replaced them, but he could only get it running for like maybe 2 or 3 hours at a time. Then it would just overheat and it would go out. So he used to just turn it on for special occasions like Wizard of Oz or a parade or, something like that. And we would watch in color and that was the old tube that used to be round, not square. It was a round tube. Why they wanted to make a round tube, I don't know. I guess it was easier back then. But imagine seeing everything in a circle as opposed to square. Pretty wild. But anyway, that's the going back in time, as they say. It's showing how I got these gray hairs.
Gemma is hand pink waving. Thanks, Gem.
Hi.
Gem.
No,
is Indy watching today? Worked. Is Indy watching today?
I think Indy will be watching today.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hi, Andy.
Has she played The Great Circle?
No, I don't know. What is that?
It's the Indiana Jones game that was out recently.
Oh, no.
On Game Pass.
No.
I think it's PG-13. I think it's like friendly. It's not like naughty.
Gem is like Grey in that she's kind of in the past. She wouldn't have a TV if it wasn't for probably me and Indy. In fact, Indy doesn't really watch TV either.
So has Indy played the game then?
They don't have a computer. There's a TV, but that's there by, you know, not
that's just
really forced into it.
You put computers together and they don't even have one.
I'm sad.
I know, right?
I feel sad.
Yeah, I've tried to force one upon her, but she just it's just too much clutter. And I put an AV receiver in and some speakers so she can listen to her music. And she's like, at first she was like, "Oh, I don't know, it's just too big, it's too black, and it's everywhere." And then, you know, I turned up the sound and they were listening to music. Like, okay, yeah, it can stay.
Yeah. When she gets a little older, she'll probably just ask for the best gaming PC you can make.
She's a bit of a technophobe, so
that's good. You should be around, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not be, right? Anyway, we're gonna move along with the show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm gonna walk right into the AI corner. This will be probably quick, but I'm always amazed by when I check on things with AI occasionally, and what they're doing, how it's doing, or whether it's taken over the world by now or not, or what, or Skynet. But I found something that was really interesting. It was called content providers are being replaced by AI. So I was going like, so content providers, meaning on YouTube, right? So I go on YouTube and I wanted to see what that was all about. So I searched around and found more than one video on this that they put up. But there's this one guy in particular, I believe, if I give him a little credit, he was called Creator Secrets. And basically, he created a AI woman, very nice looking, of course. And it was kind of patterned off, I think, of him, if he, like a little bit as if he was a girl. But what he did was he built this AI girl, and what he does when he does his videos is that he is conversing with the AI girl, obviously through editing and whatnot. But I was like amazed. Yes, you can look at it and you can tell that it's AI, but it's awfully hard to tell it's an AI, because if it wasn't for the fact that the motion wasn't completely perfect, I mean, like, you know, like we move like this and it's completely fluid. This character moves pretty fluidly, but not perfect. Not jittery either, just not perfect. But I couldn't believe it. She was sitting there, right? It's alive, sort of. She's sitting there talking and basically doing most of the video on her own. And the guy only pops in once in a while to say whatever he's going to say. So he converses with her. Otherwise, she's the one that is actually presenting just like we are right now. And we had joked about this not long ago on our podcast about, you know, we could just have an AI replace us and do the show. And they're already doing it. So as soon as I even kid around about it, it's already happened. And I wanted... Go ahead.
I was just wondering, do you think he's running that kind of thing locally on his own system and his own, you know, AI system? Or is he probably using some sort of, you know, AI as a service type scenario?
He seems to be rather adept at working AI. So he's using multiple programs, probably anywhere from 3 to 5 different programs, to get what he needs or what he made. I do think, of course, there's a lot of editing involved, because I can spot the edits, you know, here and there. But just the time he puts into this to actually make this, because when you see the girl doing this, and by the way, anybody who wants to actually see it, remember we have a YouTube video podcast. For those that are listening in their cars or at home on audio, check out the video podcast, and you will see some video running as I'm talking now.
It's the same one of this, by the way. It's right. The same podcast.
So you will see something running in the back, whatever we talk about. Anyway, to go back, so I was just surprised at how much work this AI person was doing, and she said she was AI, and she was going like, you know, she has a name. I forgot what her name was, and but it's just spooky, man. You're sitting there watching this, and after you start looking at her for a while, you start getting used to her, and it's just like any other influencer. So then I got more curious, and I wanted to see, well, how widespread is this? Because you're seeing all kinds of videos out there about AI. I only try to stick to 2 or 3 or 4 people I think know their stuff, but there's many others out there, some that don't know their stuff. But anyway, so I wanted to see, is this turned into a business or what? I'm shocked again, guys, because there are people out there making these kinds of AI influencers like this guy did. And literally, they don't appear on camera at all. This influencer just comes on and does everything. The ones that are the easiest ones are the ones that, as we used to see before AI got this good, we would see mostly female come on and open up a TikTok channel or whatever, and they would do whatever they want on TikTok, and they would get like 1 million views and make some money because they look good and they do this or they do that. Well, now there's a whole bunch of influencers on TikTok and other channels that aren't real. They are all AI. And unless the person flat out tells you they're AI or you kind of figure it out on your own, nobody knows. And these AI people, I saw one where this AI girl or whatever was making something like $1,000, $2,000 a month for whoever it was that's doing this. But there's no real model involved. There's no real human. There is a human when we talk about programming and stuff. Yes. So it is a talent, of being able to do it right, because you have to know what you're doing on these programs to be able to create this. But aside from that, the talent that he puts out there is not real, even though it seems real. And because it's on TikTok and you're using mostly still frames, or you're doing very, very short videos that are only like 5 seconds long where you see the person turn or whatever, it looks flawless because that's all you're doing. You're only watching a couple seconds of a video, and the still imagery has gotten so good. It's freaking unbelievable. I don't know, you guys probably will see it this time on this podcast, but on the AI corner and on the other corners, I made some new interfaces that go between our segments so that it can come on and tell you what the segment is, right?
Very cheesy, but very cool.
It is very cool. I wanted to make an image that I wanted to use in the AI corner one, and if you're watching right now, I'll put it up real quick. And in the lower right-hand corner, I wanted to have a picture. So I went on to, pretty sure it was Midjourney, if I remember right. And I wanted to give a shot at this. Now, it all involves the prompt. You have to be able to write a good prompt. So I came on basically and wrote what I wanted to see. I said I wanted a beautiful girl in front, but behind her, I wanted Terminator-type robots. And I wanted the Terminator-type robots to both be going thumbs up and smiling with this evil-looking grin. And then on the bottom of the picture, I wanted to say, I'm AI, trust me. So I had the whole vision in my head of how to do it. So I go ahead and I prompted it, and it came up with the first couple images. And I was going like, okay, we're on the right trail. I got the nice looking girl, but the robots, they started getting into more cartoonish kind of thing. So I had to add to the prompt to make it more descriptive. So I had to say like, more robotic like, or more like the movie, or I had to put movie accurate, terms like that, so that it kind of understood a little bit more. Then I had to say I wanted the robots in the background, but I didn't want them to be too diffused so you could tell who the robots were, or the girl in the back. So you had to get real explicit. And then finally, when I changed a word here and there and whatever, by the time I generated, I don't know, I think the 5th or 6th picture, I finally got what I wanted. And I put it into the AI segment that we use. So I got to admit, it was pretty cool. I mean, I had the vision in my head. I made the prompt to what I wanted, and I just had to screw around with the prompt a little bit, and it came out nice. Anyway, so now I investigated to find out, is YouTube really doing a lot of this? And now I'm starting to find out that what this guy did is starting to catch on. So now there's other people or other AI models, whatever you want to call them, doing the talent now, whereas the person behind that's creating it, you don't even see at all.
Do you remember Quebble Cop? I think that was his name. He was a YouTuber that the first I knew of anyway, that decided that he wanted to not put his face on in YouTube anymore, and that he would replace his face with an AI instead. Now, this was way back. Well, I say way back. This is a few years ago. I think it was pre. yeah. I mean, it was decades ago in AI terms, but it was pre the first Will Smith spaghetti bowl AI thing, right? So it was really, really basic. But everyone hated it. They hated it like really badly, and his channel went from, I don't know, millions of viewers to virtually none. If it's happening now, I guess it's quite different. I guess there's just a different sentiment towards it. Well, or maybe it's just because there's like scantily clad girls. I don't know.
Well, that's definitely part of it. There's no doubt.
That's why Gray likes AI.
No, it's just that there's no doubt about this. But now this guy's channel, I don't know how long he's been on, but he has 31,000 subscribers. So in the scheme of subscribers, that's not a lot. When you're looking at people that have 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. So I don't know. I don't think the people that are upwards of 500,000 or 1 million or more are going to get too nutty about putting in an AI. But there are plenty of people that are doing it. And let's put it this way. They're getting thousands of subscribers just by doing this stuff, and actually monetizing and making money. So I'm like, man, that's like, we're in the wrong business. We got to pick up. We need to do an EGP one now or something. But it was just flat out crazy, man. It's like I've been saying for months now in this program. The AI is moving so fast. It's like unbelievable. There are programs out there that are online right now for free that you can go on and have it produce about maybe 5 seconds of video. So you go in there, practice your prompting, and you have it generate. Now, most of them are all charging, and I understand that because they did all the hard work, and you should be paying them for it. So what they do is they go on a credit basis. So you charge your credit card, let's say for $100, and you get whatever 300 credits, let's just say. And so when you want to generate a picture, it might cost you 10 credits. When you generate a video, it might cost you 50 credits. If you want to generate longer than 5 minutes, it might cost you 100 credits, and so on. But I watched this one guy go from, he put some editing into this. So he did some work, but basically he went off on Scratch, and he had himself as a country music star singing a song that he wrote. Okay. And I'm not going to repeat it because it might be a little risque, but the point is that when he did it and put it together, I'm looking at this and I'm going like, wow, that's like, yes, again, you can tell it's AI, but man, it's pretty damn good, boy.
If it's just the image, that's cool,
no. This is a video. This was a video.
No. Sorry. I guess what I'm saying is, if the content itself, the writing and what's being said and what's being talked about or sung or whatever is, quality, then that's fine, right? What I'm concerned about is, and Martin, my friend Martin Tacitus in the chat has said, put something in the chat which is about the dead internet theory. And I think we've talked about it a few times, is that it just feels like the internet's going to end up with AI-generated slop after a few years, and just it's going to be referring to itself for more slop. And that's my concern. What you're talking about sounds great, that, someone's put a lot of work into the thing, and it's just, the visuals are just, probably better looking than he is, or, he just wants to do it like that. And that's cool. I'm all for that.
Well, the funny thing is the one that I saw where he was being a country music star, so to speak, or that was the look. Yeah, definitely it looked better than he did.
Yeah.
You could still tell it was him. But, if you didn't know that and you were the opposite sex that wanted to look at guys instead of us looking at the girls doing AI influencing, you would sit there and go like, oh, that's pretty good, so. But you're right. I think what's going to end up happening, actually, it's already happening, to be honest, is that in the YouTube is getting flooded with this stuff, and this is just the beginning. It's not really flooded yet. I maybe that's the wrong word, but it's moving fast. And so there was one guy, and Trev might cue in on this one. There's a group that I use called vidIQ, and vidIQ provides a lot of statistics about stuff when you go to publish.
Don't order this service when you're pissed off. Warning.
Right, exactly. So when you're doing when you use this service for all the stats and stuff that you need and everything, it's helpful. I'm not saying it's not helpful. However, they put out a video, the company, and they did one thing that me as a ex-marketing person I never would have said on the video. But the guy he goes AI. He said is basically going to take over the internet. AI is going to basically take over all content creation. So it may not even matter what I said in this video. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. And I'm going like, dude, you should have never said that. A bunch of people are going to be canceling your service. They're not going to need it. But he's right. I mean, he was right. It's not that he wasn't right. So yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. So it's like a whole new world. Now, if you don't think that was enough, what I just said, all that, then I just decided I was doing this very innocently. I went on to find out about some music programs because I was trying to think of a way whether there was a way I could, look up some guitar music and maybe compose some guitar music on my own and use equipment to be able to do it for me. I have the music knowledge, but I can't play guitar. So I was thinking like, oh, cool, I'll go on there and just kind of putz around and see what's available because I know there was some stuff out there. all of a sudden I fall upon another AI thing, and it's called the New AI Music King. And I'm going like, oh, what is this? So I start looking at it, and basically, I believe the service is called, hold on a second. By the way, the one that is replacing yourself for AI on YouTube is called Swap Fans. It's called Swap Fans. And then the Music Star one I saw is called Riff, as when you guitar riff, right? Riff Fusion. So,
ooh, catchy name, like it.
Yeah, they do that. That is a good name. So I went ahead to see what this was all about, and oh my God, I fell on the floor. I couldn't believe it. This guy on the video, and I like this guy, and I'm trying to give him a little plug here if I can get his name real fast. Yeah, I think it's called Theoretically Media. Yeah, Theoretically Media. So I like him a lot. He's very, very knowledgeable, and he tries all the latest stuff, and then gives his opinion about it and everything. So anyway, he goes on the video, and he decides that he's going to prompt this service to write a kind of a country westernish song on a subject matter. So he writes up the whole subject matter of more or less what he envisions. He prompts some of the word, not every word. He just prompts some of the words that he wants to get across in the song, and then he wants the AI to fill it in and write it more. You know, in other words, compose it more than just the plot, let's say, that he wrote down. So he did that, and I'm watching this, and he goes like, all right, let's try, country western style. He clicks on, it's just the prompting and clicking. So he clicks on country western, and then he just lets it go. And this thing puts it all together like in seconds. And all of a sudden, here's the song, and the voice sounds perfect, and it's singing some of his ideas, but into lyrics. I mean, flat out lyrics, brand new lyrics. And I'm just like floored, man. I can't even believe it. How good it was. I'm not going to say it's another Willie Nelson, but I'm saying it was good. So then I thought,
how much work do you think goes into that, Gray, to make it that slick and that easy to use?
Oh, I'm sure there was plenty of work that went into it. And I know this company obviously charges for their software or whatever. Like I was saying before, on a credit, they all seem to be you do this credit thing,
yeah,
because it's easier, I think, to market that way. So anyway, so I'm sitting there going like, wow, that's good. Then he takes it one step further and goes like, well, let's do a rap version of the same thing. So he just sits there and clicks, all right, go rap, more or less, and all of a sudden a rap version with virtually the same lyrics comes out, and is totally different with totally different music and everything. And then he goes, all right, let's try a heavy metal. And all of a sudden, it puts out a video of a heavy metal band singing the lyrics to the song. And I'm just like, this is just too much, man. I must be imagining this stuff. But take a look at it yourself if you want. Go on Riff Fusion, but it seems like anybody can be a rock star now, and stuff. So the goods and bads about that are obviously, and we always repeat it, if you want to be creative on either one of these programs, it's amazing what you can go on there and do, and now feel very creative and probably create some really cool stuff. So that side is fine. The downside, of course, is every Tom, Dick, Harry, and their grandmother is going to be trying to do this, and you're going to have so much stuff. It's going to be hard to find anything that's good, And I'm sure the music artists out there are not thrilled, but unfortunately,
and they shouldn't be.
Right, and
they don't get credited.
And movie people too. I'll give you another, for instance. Just as I was going around, I saw another piece of software that basically, if you want to, if I remember this correctly, you think of a movie, let's say, or maybe not a full-length movie, but something like 15 minutes or whatever, and you basically write up the plot line and the basic story, and kind of like almost like a storyboard in your head of kind of how you see it going. This is going to be the beginning, more or less, the middle, and the end. And you pump it into this program, and it writes the freaking script. So I'm like, and then once it writes the script, is it a perfect script? No, it's not. But they saved a lot of time and a lot of money from hiring a script writer. And I'm not going to say whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not getting politically involved in that. But the point is that it fleshed it out so much that now he could take it to a script writer and say, hey, here's my rendition. I just need you to go in
punch
there.
Punch it up a bit.
Exactly. So now instead of paying the screenwriter, let's say $1 million to write a script, he's paying him $250,000 to punch it up. Saves loads of money and loads of time. So it's wild though. But I'll kind of wrap it up there on the AI corner. But I'll report back as I hear more things. But it's just, I'm telling you guys, it's wild. It is flat out wild.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the right or wrong angle, and I won't comment on that either, but the big question for me is just, is it good? At the end of the day, is it good?
Well, I originally would say, like, as little as 2 months ago, I would say, it's okay. 2 months later, now it's great. I mean, it's just moving up the scale. Like, if it was a 5 out of 10, now it's like around a 7, and it's approaching 8. And then eventually, now between 8 and 10, it's going to be much slower because it gets harder and harder to sit there and imitate a human. But the point is that in 6 months, it's gone from it's almost like going from stick figures to a freaking painting. It's
going to be impossible to tell. And have you thought about all of the things like scams? You get the telephone scams, right? And it's one thing to receive a call and it to sound like, I don't know, your family member saying, "Oh, can you just transfer me some money?" But what if you get a video call from a family member and it says, "Transfer me some money," And there are going to be some people that aren't very technical and that don't know what AI is, and old people, they're going to get scammed.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Anyway, we're going to move along with some game stuff. So Trev's got a bunch of game news that we can all talk about. So take it away, Mr. Trev.
Okay. Yes, the first thing that might, I don't think it'll interest you, Gray. I don't know if it'll even interest Tara, unless he's a football guy. The famous franchise, Football Manager, formerly known as Championship Manager, from SI Interactive. The games are now produced by Sega. This has been cancelled. FM25 is a massive game. It's a football simulation game, right? Our football, okay, not the other football. And I'm not going to use the S word because that's sacrilege over here. So yeah, it's been cancelled. It was delayed for a little while. Rumours are they're having big problems with the game engine that they've updated in this game. And they've got to the stage now where they've just canned it to try and work on FM26. But there's even rumours that they might miss out on FM26 because it's a big deal. Yeah, this is a big thing for this is a massive thing for Sega. It's a big generator for them. It's often on the Game Pass every year. I no longer play it because it's one of these games that's so time consuming. I won't go. It's ended marriages. It's ended relationships.
Really?
People have lost their jobs for it. Yeah, it's so time consuming and so takes all your attention, and you're focused, and that's your one main game, and you're playing it for way too much. So I'm like, won't touch it. But I respect the hell out of it. I really, really do. And this started off back in the day for those that remember Championship Manager back in the day. Just text based. Remember, just text based on the screen. It would flash up of like almost a commentary, and there was you didn't see the actual football match being played. And then they got to the stage where they updated that, and they they put an engine in there. They put a kind of 2D engine, then they made it to like a 2.5D engine. You could speed up the game and watch it. It's so in depth that I won't touch it. However,
I love it.
Massive. Well, yeah. I don't know. I take it I'm assuming you don't play it much these days now, Taro. Is that right?
I think I played FM21 for a little bit, and
okay.
I'm a bit sad about this because I decided about a month ago. Oh, you know what? I really fancy playing the next Football Manager. I'm going to get 25, and then just like literally a week ago, I heard the news and I was gutted because I wanted to play it. And I've got very fond memories of the summer of Championship Manager at the time, 97-98 season. And me and my friend Ian spent the entire summer holidays of school basically indoors playing Championship Manager. We were just so addicted. Oh,
there's my evidence right
there.
Amazing. That's why you don't play it. That's why I don't recommend playing it. Young boys spending indoors all the time playing the one game instead of outside playing or playing other games.
We could have been outside on our bikes or chasing girls or drinking beer, but no way, dude.
Chapman.
We had football games to play.
The most famous Chapman is 0102, season 0102. You can actually get it for free online legally.
Yeah.
That is legendary. And then, of course, they switched publishers, so they changed it to Football Manager. And this game sells a lot for Sega, so it's a massive thing that it is delayed. But to be fair, Taro, I wouldn't buy them anymore either because They tend to be free. Epic will give it out free every year, usually, and it's on the Game Pass, so I don't buy it anymore. I've got FM24 for free. Quick thank you to Hinks UK for the Twitch sub. Thank you, my man. Appreciate it. Always appreciate your long-time support, mate. Moving on, because we'll get so much information to get through.
Hanif, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but Mohammed Hanif Balak. Howdy.
All the way from Pakistan. Nice to have you.
You'd be surprised that
from there.
When you look at our pod service and you look at where it's coming from around the world, you'd be surprised. There's a couple in all these places, like a little one in Pakistan, 2 or 3 in Australia, and a couple other countries. It's funny. I mean, most of the blobs are all from the UK and US, but there's still some. Around.
Someone's saying hello under my name. Interesting. What's going on there?
I don't know. I say hello once in Riverside, and it comes out.
It says Trev says hello. I didn't say hello, but I'm saying hello now. Hi.
Hi, Trev.
I don't know.
Right. So the winter sale is on from Epic. Listen, I only bring these deals up about free games or winter sales or sales in general if they're decent, because as we know for a long time, Steam done them for a long time. They were pretty mince, to be fair. But there are a couple of things that stand out a little bit. I'll do this in dollars because the article's in dollars. So if a couple of noticeable games that are decent, Dragon Age, The Veilguard, $36 was $60. Decent for a game of that size. Going through the list, you've got Assassin's Creed Mirage, $20 down from $50. Decent. I would have said Star Wars Outlaws as well, but that's a janky piece of. That's only $42 if that's your cup of tea.
You mean Ujank, right?
Ujank, exactly, man. Go on. There's up to 75% off of some sales at the moment, some deals. And they are doing free games. The free games that they always do. They are still doing them at the moment as well. To be fair, there is a couple of decent games coming out. We were talking about football sims just a moment ago, Tarl. I don't know if anyone likes Formula 1, but there's Formula 1 Manager 24 is free at the moment. So if you like your Formula 1, there is a management game for that as well. Yep.
I didn't even know there was a Formula 1 Manager game.
Oh, yes.
Oh, damn.
Getting amongst it.
All right. Yeah.
We'll pause the podcast so you can buy it.
Yeah, we'll pause. We'll wait. Don't worry. You can come back.
You're going to have to pause for about 24 hours because I'm going down a rabbit hole, boys.
There's the problem there. You can get stuck down that bloody rabbit hole, to be fair. But yeah, there is a couple of decent free games coming out over the next couple of weeks with Epic as well. Keep your eyes out for that. I found this amusing. This has happened for the second time. PlayStation Network last week went down for a whole day. Now, it might not seem like a big deal, but about 10, 15 years ago, it went down for a month or nearly a month, if anyone recalls that news. It was a massive, massive deal. People were losing their shit. Rightly so. They offered 2 free games to people back then we apologise.
Can we get a free game this time too?
What's that?
Can we get a free game this time too?
No, they're offered 5 days free PSN to compensate, which is fine and fair by my eyes because it was down for a day and they're giving 5 days free. It's fine, whatever. Some people were maybe wanting one game, but it's 1 day. But people were losing their shit because this happened on Friday. So you come back from work, you sometimes just want to kick back with a beer or whatever drink you like and chill and play some games online. And you couldn't do a lot of things, actually. You couldn't buy games. You couldn't play your digital games you already bought offline unless your PlayStation was. If you have more than one PlayStation, you can set which PlayStation is your master PlayStation, and unless it's your main PlayStation, you weren't even able to play your digital games. For most people, that didn't affect you because most people only have one PlayStation, but you might have more than one if you've got kids in the house or whatever. So
people might say that this is a first world problem, but in my opinion, if you're going to make it so that your games can only be played online, you better make damn sure that your online games don't go offline.
Oh yes, 100%, man. 100%. It's,
Well, I mean, assuming they only went
big
off
deal.
for a day, imagine if they didn't have the right systems, it could have went off, like Trev said, for a week or something.
Yeah, but don't they have redundancy? Don't they have backups? Don't they have, this is like,
I think
this is big
you're
data
right.
center stuff.
I think you're right, they do, but I think also the same happens with some of these people that jam up everything. They know, and they have increased their people, or they've increased their power. Because it's a challenge to them, because that's the way they work. They're like weird. So they're going to go like, oh, yeah, they think I can't take them down. I'll do it. And they just keep at it and keep at it and keep at it.
It's too easy. I think it's too easy for these big companies. Often, something happens and then they say, oh, okay, we have to protect against that. They never protect against it before it happens. They never have these robust systems in place. It's always a panic once the issue happens.
Well, we know why,
it just affects the customers. It's always the customers that lose out.
It costs money, and they're not going to put the money out unless they have to.
Well, it's they won't say what the reason was why it went down. I think they're probably too embarrassed to say as much. I don't think it was a hack this time.
Somebody pulled the plug.
Somebody pulled the plug on the server. Yeah, I was just thinking
someone's tripped over the cable. Actually, it happens to the best of us. You're like, no. Another free Epic game that some people might like. I think we played this back in the day, Gray, or some of the people from when it was Extreme PC UK back in the day. On the 20th of February, you have World War Z, or World War Z as they say across the pond, with all the DLC as well. That was a mental game. If you like your zombies, you like your horde mode, look out for that one. Epic Games
it's
are brilliant.
Free, so. Yeah,
I mean, that's a decent shout for a free game. I always look at the free games, and if there's a small chance I'll ever play it, I'll take the license. People should say you do it anyway. You should just click and claim. Well, no, if it's, for example, Garden Story, it looks like a kid's game. I'm never going to play that, so I'm not going to click on that. Just no for me. Right. The interesting thing, it should have been bigger, but it wasn't, was this PlayStation State of Play was on last night, or my time. And I watched it earlier on. I'll go through it and kind of give some highlights. They showed off, it was 46 minutes worth of content. Wow. But they didn't show off many first-party titles, Sony PlayStation Studio titles. A lot of third-party stuff. Monster Hunter Wilds coming out at the end of this month. They were shown another trailer on that and some pre-order exclusives for PlayStation. Did anyone ever play Shinobi back in the day? Is that a cup of tea for some people? Yeah, so Shinobi, Art of Vengeance is coming out. It's one of these kind of 2D slasher type games. It visually looks lovely, the art style, I must admit. I'll bypass some of the crap because there was a lot of it. Some more Yakuza stuff coming out here as well. And WWE 2K25. I'm not into my wrestling games, but this seems to be like a big, massive thing. Great. They showed a picture of you being on this island. And if you ever remember that, what was that game we played on one of the drinking gaming nights where you would go around playing mini games on like this map and
Tower
dancing.
Tower something.
Tower Unite.
Yeah.
It looked like this. To be fair. It kind of looked cool. I'm stealing Gray's thunder slightly, and apologies, Gray can expand on this point immediately after me if he wants. One of the bigger ones was Borderlands 4, which was announced for September the 23rd. Did you want to add to that, Gray, or do you want to play the trailer?
No, the only thing I was going to say about that was that it really is out. There is a trailer out there that's gameplay, actually. It's only like a minute and a half or something like that. But it did look really good. I mean, we all like the play of Borderlands, and the most unique thing about Borderlands is you can make any kind of weapon you want. And the cool thing is that you can change and use different things from different weapons and come up with something totally different. So the game can allow you to come up with millions of different weapons, like almost literally. And I will play the trailer in the video edit so you can see it again. But some people have probably already seen it. So not a lot to say, but it did look good from what I saw, and I was surprised it's coming out this year. So it'll be September 23rd. So I was like, yeah, good.
I didn't play. I played Borderlands 3 briefly with the Extreme Gaming Podcast guys back in the day, but It's something that it's they are co-op games, so I would probably like to go back and revisit them with the boys, you guys, at some point.
I played 2, I played 3. I'm looking forward to see what they do with 4.
There are some more kind of tastier games coming out as well, which I'm looking forward to. Directive 8020, Five Nights at Freddy's, which is not my cup of tea, but it's a bit of a cult classic.
It's a movie, yeah.
You've got quite a few things there. The things that really got my attention were Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, which, of course, is an absolute classic.
I think it's coming August, out. Right? Is that August it's coming?
Yeah, it's August the 28th, I believe.
Cool.
And I will possibly get that one, although I'm not 100% sure at this stage, to be honest.
I'm going to grab it.
Yeah, 28th of August, people. That's what we're looking at for that game. And, of course, it's a classic. Don't really need to add too much more to that, do I? I think they chose that game because it is such a classic to basically remake it. Or it is a remake rather than a remaster. I've got to be fair in that respect there.
Pretty good, though. The graphics have definitely been overhauled.
I love those games.
I wouldn't go back and play those games because I just think they're just too old graphically. But now, they're looking good. That's why I'm not against remakes if they remake it like that one. Is it state-of-the-art graphics? Not quite, but it looks a lot better than the original. So now I'd be willing to play it.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Sorry?
I'm glad to hear it. Because you don't normally touch that kind of situation, like you say. But the other one, mixed emotions, but Days Gone Remastered. Now, Days Gone is one of the best games I've ever played. It's in my top 10. This is why I'm a Sony guy more than an Xbox guy these days, and it used to be the reverse back in the day. Sony make great story-driven games, absolutely brilliant. They spend tens of millions making these games. That's why they don't put them on the PSN pass on day one, because they just lose out too much financially. Days Gone was phenomenal, done by Bench Studio. I literally genuinely was emotional playing that because it was such a good story throughout it as well. That is getting remastered, even though it is a mere few years old, 4 years old or something, and they're already remastering it, which is ridiculous.
Wow.
However, I don't know if this is a money earner or they're going to go back and make another one. I think Bench Studios have moved on. I don't think they were allowed to make another one. So they decided to remaster this, and essentially they've already released a patch for PS5 for this, which is frustrating. But this will have a PS5 Pro patch in it to boost it up higher. They will make it look a bit better. They'll add in some bells and whistles. They'll add in Horde mode, which is basically what it sounds like, World War Z style. And if you've already got the game, this is what Sony usually do. $10, probably £10 as well. Although the guys again at Sony don't know how exchange systems actually work when it comes to money. This will be an extra 10 or so to basically upgrade. They gave this game for free at one point, I'm sure, during the stay-at-home thing back in the day during COVID. I'm sure it was one of the freebie games, or it was either that, it was one of the freebie games you got when you bought a PlayStation 5, and you basically pay 10 to upgrade. I probably will do that, because I generally adored the game. So mixed emotions on that one. Thought it was a bit cheap. Just make a Days Gone 2, Ben Shields. Come on, man. I genuinely love that game. Apart from that, there's nothing too exciting, fortunately. This is why it was mixed emotions, this one. We were expecting reveals on Death Stranding 2 release date. More information on the Wolverine game.
Death Stranding
We
2?
got none of that stuff.
They're going to do another UPS guy on the second one?
See, the problem is I struggle. Your lore and Tarot's too high, so I'm trying to balance the volume so I don't hear you always, Greg.
It's happening to me too, because he's his ladder and you're low.
I know. This is why the two of you are going to work together on the audio at some point between now and the next pod. What you saying, Greg? Repeat that again, mate.
I don't know. What was I saying?
Well, it can't be that important. There you go. It was one of these great comments where he interrupts you, but with like a cheeky comment or something rather than something meaningful, and he's already forgotten.
I do want to comment on the remakes. I noticed, and this is not a bad thing necessarily. I noticed that the companies that are getting ready to put out a game eventually, but it takes time, are going back and remaking some of their old games, or maybe even remastering, but at least remaking, and then putting them out in the interim before the next big one comes out. And again, I'm not against that if they do a good job, like they are with Snake Eater. A perfect example is Witcher 4. Witcher 4 is not going to be out for at least 2 years from now, or maybe even more. So in between, what are they doing? They're remaking Witcher 1, and I hear rumors they're going to remake Witcher 2. And Witcher 1 will be out, I believe, towards the end of this year. So they're going to have remake Witcher 1, remake Witcher 2, Witcher 4 across the next, X amount of years. So it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, but remaking a game that's 3 or 4 years old?
Well, Witcher 1 is very old. It's like
I'm talking about the game Trevor's talking about.
Days Gone.
Days Gone.
You know what? I thought that was kind of dumb too at first, but then when they did it with Horizon Zero Dawn, which is really that old, I was going the same way. But then when I saw what they did, I was like, okay, this looks pretty darn good. So, and on top of that, they decided to add a couple new things. They added a little more dialogue, a couple of different new cutscenes. So you were kind of getting a wee bit more than just a remake, but it really did look awfully good. So I don't know.
Okay.
Depends.
Well, remakes are just the way it is. They're like Hollywood, the game studios. They run out of ideas, so it's a safe bet for them to make money. The last two things I've got kind of work together. These two articles are kind of quicker articles. More job layoffs, boys. Unfortunately, I hate to see it within the industry. Job layoffs from Rocksteady Studios. That's more of an obvious one because they're the guys that brought out Suicide Squad. They're a Warner Brothers studio, their gaming studio essentially. Warner Brothers Studios, they basically took a $200 million loss in that game because it's not great. And they've actually, you can get it for free right now. I'm sure you can get it for free, or you could for a limited
really
amount of time. Yeah. So they are going back to make Batman games because that's what they do best. The Batman Arkham Asylum games were phenomenal. But to compensate for the losses, Rockstar employees, some of them were made redundant, including its QA department. That's hilarious, their QA department. Yeah, this game, Suicide Squad, do we think it's good or shit? Oh, it's good, let's put it out. That's probably why you're getting sacked, because you thought that game was good. They're getting they're not in many positions, but every position still sucks. 18 places getting lost there over at Rocksteady Studios. And the second one that's slightly more sad is Crytek, the guys over at Crytek Studios. I forget the bloody name as well. Didn't
they do the Crysis games, right?
They do, yes, they do. Crytek is the name of the studio. Sorry, the Crysis games is what they're. That's why we always make the joke, but can it run Crysis 3? Those guys are, I want to say Polish. They're a European company anyway, and they are. A couple of things have happened with them, which really, really sucks. They are making redundancies. I think they're struggling a little bit with. They're basically working on Crysis 4 at the moment, which is amazing news.
Oh, they are?
But
wow, that's a lot of
it's been a long time since we had a Crysis game, so I guess I'm not really surprised by that, Greg.
Yeah.
But to compensate, they're delaying that a little bit, and they're also letting go around 60 employees, which is quite a lot for their size of their studio. They are working on their Hunt Showdown game, which, if you haven't played, is great fun, by the way. I recommend it. Their engine, the Crytek engine, is beautiful. Beautiful engine for gaming. I like my shinies, and they do it really well.
I played some Hunt Showdown. I'd like some Hunt Showdown, but I couldn't get into it 100%. But it was good.
I hate redundancies in the industry, I really do. But the one from Warner Brothers, maybe I'm not as sad because they are the idiots that said, "Oh yeah, this game's pretty good. Let's put it out."
They're
I really sucked at my job. If I really sucked at my job like that bad, I would expect to get sacked as well. That's brutal, Trev. Sorry, but the Crytek guys, I feel sorry for because right what you do with it. So yeah, that is from me from my side of things. Oh, Mr. Turl.
Oh, brilliant! Thank you. Yeah. So sorry, I was thinking there was a joke there, something about a Crysis, but Yeah, I just couldn't get to it.
We didn't go. Tar walked into a bar one day, and then he. No.
Yeah, it was too complex of a joke for me to put together, so I didn't bother. So I wanted to talk about AMD's new GPU and the fact that apparently there's going to be a 32 gigabyte version, which I find really interesting. So we've got the RX 9070 and the 9070 RX, which both have been confirmed at 16 gigabytes of RAM, VRAM, which is great. I think that's perfect for the kind of card that they're pitching at, which I think is going to be around 5070 to almost 5080 kind of levels, maybe like 4070 Ti levels. And so 16 gigs is fine there, but they're also now talking about a 32 gigabyte version. And I'm not sure why, because so they're saying that it's a gaming card, and I could understand if they were releasing it as a professional card or if it was an AI card, but I don't think games need anywhere near 32 gigabytes. I know the new NVIDIA card has 32, but that's just like super high level.
Not yet, Tarl. Not yet.
I was
but
going to
you're
say
future-proofing yourself. It's only a matter of years before that comes.
Yeah, but your GPU. It's getting to the point now where games need more than 8 gigabytes. That's for sure, right? And I think some of the 12 gigabyte cards are starting to struggle a little bit, especially if you're running them at high settings and definitely in 4K. 16 gigs, I think, is still safe for at least a good few years, and probably will continue to be. But 32 just seems like a lot to me. So I'm just wondering, who are they actually? Who is their target market for this? It's probably AI, but it's a bit strange that they're saying it's gamers.
I think some of it's a marketing ploy too, because they can sit there and say
bigger number better. Yeah.
And as far as the memory is involved, well, I was reading an article that's not available yet, but NVIDIA, of course, who else, is working on an AI software that is going to basically make games run on lower VRAM just fine. So that's coming around the pike. Now, it's already being tested right now, but this is purely at the early stages. But I saw an article of some of the testing, and it was interesting. So now, if let's say I'm having a little trouble on my 12 megabyte 40 Super to run Ultra or something, then this software will allow me to run any of those games on Ultra, no issue. So it's decreasing the amount of VRAM that you need by supplementing it with AI algorithms. If that's true, then in the future, very near future actually, is you won't care whether the card has 16, 24, or 32 anymore, because the AI will be making up for it. So
guys, sorry, apologies to interrupt. Quick interlude. Matt's subscribed with the old Twitch Prime. Thank you, Matt. 63 months. I know he's feeling under the weather. I hope you're better soon, mate. He deleted one of the spam messages for us in Twitch with someone trying to sell something to. So thank you, Matt. Earning your pennies that we don't pay you in your sick bed. Thank you, mate. Carry on, guys.
Great. To that, I think why are companies like NVIDIA giving us a $750 card in 2025 with 12 gigabytes of RAM? It's wild.
Because they can.
It's people need to vote with their wallets, basically, and hopefully this will change. We shouldn't have to use these third-party things to make the card usable if we want to run it high settings and whatever else. It's just blows my mind.
To add on to that, Tal, right? The NVIDIA, they do it essentially because they can. They don't get much competition, especially in the high end. The people were pissed off about many things about the recent 5000 series launch of their cards, right? But one of the things that were pissed off especially was the lack of VRAM compared to the value. So the 5080 was only 16 gig. I say only, that's enough, but for the price you were paying for the second highest card, people are going nuts at you're taking the piss. Your top card's 32 gig, which it should be because it's your super duper fancy, no one needs it apart from 1% of the world card. But then your 5080 is still only, your 80 series card is still only 16 gig. That should have been comfortably
24 at least,
22.
20 or 24,
as high as 24, because I know it goes in fours. But they'll get away with it because they can at that. Like, and this is AMD not competing at this level. I mean, this is why I'm so sad about their new GPUs coming out, Tar, because they rumor has it that their top card will only beat the 4080 by about roughly 3%. So it won't even beat the 4080 Super, never mind the 4090. So they're well and truly in the mid-range, not even nowhere near close to top. It makes me sad.
I've seen some more reports that it could be a bit better than that. So
I hope so.
And there's also been some benchmarks that have found their way out. I think I saw one. Oh, where did I see him? Was it a Geekbench? One of the benchmarking things, maybe Geekbench. And the card was looking good. It's looking good for. And I think now that we're hearing more that we should see an RRP around about $600, which seems for the performance seems like okay. I'd prefer it to be closer to $500, but what can you do? But interesting that there's going to be a 32 gigabyte version because I think if you're doing AI or any kind of professional workloads, if you've got what, a $2,500 5090 versus I don't know, what could it be? Maybe $1,000, 1,200, 9070 could be a good option.
I think it depends on the task too, because I've noticed that with games, of course, it can use all the VRAM and then some. I'm just starting to run into I'm not going to say it's a problem, but like you were saying, Tarl, where I was playing Sniper Elite Resistance, and I decided to run everything at Ultra on my 4070 Super. So the performance was fine, but I noticed that the GPU was running like not burning up hot, but hot-ish. Mm-hmm. And then so I dropped a couple of the settings down to high instead of Ultra, and then it kind of just balanced out. But in any case, I mean, I don't think when I switched to something like Adobe Premiere and I'm editing our video podcast, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm using all three monitors, and I've got screens up everywhere and everything. And when I'm all done and I render a 4K video podcast, it takes like 19 minutes to render it all out.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like, and that's just with the 4070 Super and my Intel chip. So now,
and that's almost all about the VRAM buffer, right? Getting it just doesn't have enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, so really it's the only time it's going to bother somebody is obviously gaming, and of course gaming is huge. So, but as far as other tasks, I'm telling you, I was shocked when I was rendering a 2-hour podcast video at 4K, that it could render it out that fast with a bunch of edits. I mean,
you think that's fast? Oh, okay. I thought you were saying it was slow.
No, that's fast.
I think that's slow.
Oh God, no! I'm not gonna say years ago, but probably about a year ago or whatever. To render something like that would have taken a good hour or more.
Dude, I have my own YouTube channel as well that I do videos for my business, and
I noticed.
Did you see the one that I mentioned you in, Trev?
No, I only watched the most recent one briefly. Shit, what have I done?
I didn't see
it. So there was a review on our site that just said from Trev, and it said, "Good guys, thanks," or something. I assume that was you. I'll send you a link, but I did a little video of all the good reviews we had, and I did a little thing where it said, Trevor says, "They are good guys," and I was like, "Thanks, Trevor."
Thank you for that £20. I appreciate that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'll come on and say the same thing and sign it, Trev, too.
He wants 20 quid as well.
No, come on, you can't have that. Anyway, so I render videos quite a lot, and I've got a 7900 XTX AMD card with 24 gigs of RAM, and I render, hour and a half long videos at 4K in, I don't know, 10 minutes, less than that, even 8.
That sounds about right. Because if you're doing an hour and a half, I'm doing 2 hours. And
lots of edits, lots of
I got a lot
effects.
Of edits in mine. I don't know if you'd have to see it, but I'll look at yours.
It's I think it's usually the effects. So you're using Adobe or
Premiere. Yep. Premiere.
Yeah. So if you're using a lot of After Effects stuff, that's where it really starts.
I'm not even using After Effects. I've just used the effects that are within Premiere, plus I downloaded some other effects that cost me almost nothing. that I
Well,
imported.
I think that's a bit slow, honestly. Because for that kind of workload, you want VRAM, and you've only got what 12 gig on the 4070 Super.
Yeah, 12. But
it's low. It's slow.
To me, though, I'm not worried about it because, like I said, I'm used to it taking a lot longer.
The reason I made the comment about being sad about AMD not competing anywhere near close to the top end is because, bit of a spoiler, I have had for about the best part of a week now in my possession a Ryzen 7 9800 X3D. I bought one along with other components as well.
Tasty.
And I'll be doing a PC build shortly when I have the fecking time. But I was thinking, like if I say for argument's sake, if the AMD GPUs coming out soon would have competed with 4090, I would have considered buying one of them because that technology they've got where you run the GPU and CPU together. I always forget the name of it, but it gives you a small boost in percentage, which makes sense logically in my head. You're using the two main chips together, they're going to talk to each other better, more efficiently. I was wanting to do that, and I was willing to briefly consider not using DLSS, but AMD can't compete at that level, plus DLSS is still the daddy of AI upscaling and machine learning, so I'm just going to end up sticking with my 4080 Super for now. 5080 is a waste of time, as we know. 5090 I would love, because it's a beast, but it's too expensive, and I would need a new monitor to take to get more hertz out of. I get 144 at the moment. I need something like an OLED 240 to get the benefit out of that.
Yeah,
and then you're looking at an extra. I need an extra $3,000 for those two components. Not doing that.
Yeah, right. It's a lot of money. I mean, you can buy a whole PC for that.
Yeah.
Yes, mate. So there we have it. So yeah, hopefully soon I'll be able to take some pictures of a new PC build, and I'm just having some issues at the moment, but we'll report back.
So did you go for? You said you went for the 7800 X3D.
Yes, and I'm
not
going
the 9800.
No, sorry, 9800. Sorry if I said Ryzen 7 9800.
Dude, that is a seriously good chip right there.
It is. I just wish they'd boost the clock speeds up higher, and then it would have been a million miles ahead of Intel.
You don't need no. Trust me, for gaming, it already is a million miles ahead of anything Intel.
True. But say, for example, that million miles ahead, plus clocks that can go to like 5.7, 5.8 across the board. Imagine that, it would go even higher again and top of the 3D cache, but they don't need to, sorry.
I think they just can't, honestly, at the moment. There's just so much going on in those chips with all of that V-cache. And
that's the thing, Tal. They can't... until a few years ago, this is why I was always an Intel guy, because they had, at that point, before 3D cache was a thing, it was who had the highest clocks. And it was Intel by country mile. You could run every core at 6 gig on the most recent Intel chips. And that's what I was interested in until this 3D cache came about. However, you can overclock the AMD chip. Yep. And I've seen with good cooling, you could probably get all the cores running at 5.6, 5.7. So fingers crossed, I want to try and boost that up.
If you get a good golden sample, that you might be lucky. But yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because a long time ago, it was all about clock speeds. Then it was about your IPC, and now it's about cache. And it's interesting because I think Intel are probably going to be doing some sort of cache system as well. I don't know.
They have to copy it to get on top.
Yeah. But I'll be really interesting to know what happens next. What's the next big leap?
How much did it put you behind when you bought it? How much did that chip take out of you?
£480, but considering they're easier to get now. I got it for around about the MSRP, which is difficult to get because I didn't realize the card only came out in something like November time last year. I never realized it was generally that recent. And then obviously you've got the 9950 X3D Taro step in? Yep. Is that their most recent one? That's the one with the two CCDs where we're like, okay, one's kind of pointless to us as gamers, so not to get that. So it was Mr. Taro that said, don't get that one, mate. Actually, you'd be wasting money on that. Get your 9800 and you'll save some money.
If you're just gaming, it's definitely the right one. If you're doing productivity as well, then maybe get the 9950, but
It's not to say a 9800 will be hopeless for productivity. Far from it. I mean, you still get 8 cores running pretty high. I do a little bit of that, but not much. So we'll see where we go. But anyway, you had another article as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I just want to touch briefly on this one because I think it's been over the news quite a lot. And this is the 5080s and 5090s exploding, basically. So NVIDIA continues to give us some interesting fireworks with our new graphics cards, and some people have had their 5090s melting. So I think technically it's the cables or the cable connectors. So this is the 12-volt high power, or what's the new one they're calling it? It's the high power 6x6. I can't remember what they call it now, but that's the new standard. There's a bit in this article that really I think I wanted to highlight, which is really interesting. And it's that there's a former Gigabyte and Intel engineer who says, and I'll read it because it's a quote, "The connector itself isn't bad. It's simply rated far too high, leaving little safety factor and thus little room for error or imperfection. 600 watts should be treated as the absolute maximum power, with about 375 watts as a decent rated power limit. It's my opinion that any card drawing more than 375 over the 12-volt high power should be avoided. Every single 4090 and 5090 is in that mix. And the 5080 is borderline at 360. So this is an ex-Intel engineer, and, you could probably make some jokes about Intel engineers because, they've gone downhill a little bit recently. But these guys know their stuff, right? They've made some bad marketing decisions, but, and some, they've made some products that perhaps didn't quite, hit the mark. But they know their stuff. And if he's saying that you should avoid these cards with these particular connectors on, yeah, that's a bit worrying.
Yeah, you have to go and buy your own connector, essentially, another trusted retailer, and you should never have to do that. Should be standard.
There's also a lot of people saying that, buying these third-party connectors, because you remember Cable Mod, they had to recall all of their, they had these 90-degree 12-volt high-power adapters. They had to recall all of them. So, yeah, it's a little bit worrying, and I think the worrying thing for me is that these big companies are even just releasing these products where there is even just a slight concern that this could happen. I mean, this is, this could happen in someone's house while their PC is on and they're asleep. And, you don't want to think about what could happen there.
No. There was J2 Cents put out a video and said that the cable melt, this last one on the cable melt, was a third-party connector. It wasn't a approved connector, from NVIDIA, meaning it didn't come from NVIDIA, nor did it come from the partners that are making cards of NVIDIA's. This came from a completely different outfit, and that's
one of them. That's one of them. But there has been some other examples as well without third parties. So I think the reason I was interesting
is that you have to really dig down and make sure that it isn't user error per se, because the news gets out right away, and then they come back, then they backtrack and go like, well, I did have like this guy, the one that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He never said anything about a third party. He just said melted, and then got all over the place. And finally says, well, I did use the third party cable.
Yeah. Nobody wants to admit they're at fault, right? And everyone loves the drama. And a Reddit post where someone's brand new $2,500 graphics card has melted. But it still should never be a consideration. And if this article was without the Intel engineer saying that we should avoid these connectors, especially when they're running more than 375 watts, I perhaps wouldn't give it anywhere near as much credence. But this is a guy that clearly knows what he's doing. So I guess let's just see what happens.
Just make it out of pure graphite, and it'll put up with a lot of heat then.
Yeah.
It'll just make the price of the card go way up. But hey.
Oh, I mean, NVIDIA would love that.
Yeah, I'm sure. They can charge more than, like, hey, look.
That's it for me, anyway.
Yep, we're going to go on to a game. I was going to do some tech, but we've done a lot of tech, so let's do a game review from Trev, and then we'll come back into the tech and then back to the game.
Okay.
So Trev, your turn.
Something really quickly. really quickly to show you, Gray, I think you might appreciate and find cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Yay. For those on audio,
Hey,
Trav has a replica
It's a really
communicator from the original series.
It's a really cheapy one. I can't flick it out, but
start
it was
it.
a present.
2472.
I like the sound effect, though. They had the real sound effect.
I'm thinking of Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
When he done that, man. He said, start date 24682, the nearest decimal point. Brilliant. Anyway, sidetrack there. Gray can jump in with this, and so can Tarl if he's ever played it. The kind of gaming night that we have now, I was hesitant to put this at the top under announcements because, if I'm being blunt and honest, when we've actually tried to run something officially in the past, people really haven't bothered turning up, and I've got to respect that. You listen to people; they don't want to come up for join for a session like that. It's fine. So I decided, I asked the guys, like the close core of guys, like I said, do you want to play games together? Maybe we'll try and do it once a week. Worst case scenario, once every fortnight. We'll try and do it on the Tuesday night, for argument's sake. So the last kind of few weeks we've been playing games on Tuesday nights, and it rotates what we fancy that kind of night. And the last gaming session was Tuesday there, 2 days ago. We played Age of Empires 4. Shout out to Jansen, it was his suggestion. I'm not normally a massive RTS fan. The only RTS game I ever played and liked way back in the day was Command & Conquer. I feckin' loved that. Red Alert 2 is genius. Tanya is badass. Good man. And they brought out the remastered collection recently, actually a few years ago from Command & Conquer. So we decided, Jansen was like, download this, give it a try. Okay. Now, I thought it was one of these games where you go from really early primitive to like the future. But no, I was informed that Civilization. So Age of Empires, you only go through 4 stages. But that was thankfully enough for us. It was great. It was Jansen, it was myself playing. I think we'll probably look to play that again next week. Others are welcome to join us. Like I say, we try and do it 8 p.m. GMT every Tuesday. I went the Indians. Gray went. Oh, who did you? You went the Mongols, didn't you? Yeah, and Jansen went. Who did he go now? I can't even remember now. Anyway,
he was wasn't he Chinese or something like that?
He might have been, mate, possibly. Yeah. Jansen's played this a bit before. So is Gray briefly, but I think Jansen played it the most. I'd never played it. So we agreed we'll all build our little settlements and we won't go and attack each other for a while, so that we'll agree when to attack, because Jansen is a nice guy like that. 2 hours into our... Actually, by the time we started playing, it was like an hour and a half later. Gray's like, I need to log off. And I'm like, oh my God, we're playing an RTS game and now he's logging off. So we're taking the piss at him for that, but he had an appointment to go to, so understood. So he basically hadn't done very much at all. Like, I'm surprised how little he done that time. So he's like, I'm logging off. All his forces just go basically limp, like other things, Gray, hint, hint. And they were just cutting about doing nothing. So he logged off and I just went, right, I'm setting my forces up without saying anything. I'm just going to absolutely ransack him. And it took all of a few minutes because he had nothing on the board, more or less. So little. What were you doing, Gray?
Couldn't command my armies or anything. They were just there.
Hardly anything, mate. So, right, I took my forces back down south. At this whole time, in this hour and a half, we're sending scouts about, or Jansen and I are sending scouts on horses and whatnot about to scout the map. And Jansen's getting too close to my map, so he gets taken out by my guys, killed. And vice versa.
The scouts get killed all the time, man.
Yes. We're doing recce's, basically. That's what you do to see what's what. So there's a finite amount of resources. The mode we're playing was the basic map, and you can only have a population of 200 at the very most, right? So we go through all 4 stages, even Gray in the time he had. And then Gray's kind of logged off, so it was just Jansen and I. We stayed on for another couple hours. It was midnight before we got off. And we built up our forces for a while. And all Jansen would do is he would send some forces in, right? But I just smash them up. I'm always the defensive guy. I don't usually go and attack on foot. I'm the defensive guy. So he sends some people over and I smash them up. And the reason being, I have these little fortresses, right? And if you put guys in them, they multiply their effect essentially, and they've got cannons and stuff on them. So they would just smash up his forces. But then the reason I went to Indians, I was looking for something unique to one of these races, right? Or these empires. And I saw that they had elephants. And I was like, hell yes, give me some of that shit. So Jansen sends his guys over at one point, and he's like, holy shit. He's like, you got enough elephants? I was just building elephant after I saw how effective they were at smashing up his forces he was sending my way. And the thing is, right, they're OP. They are OP guys. You think they would just basically, use their tusks and their trunks to like smash up things? But no, what I found out accidentally was if you just click, say, beyond Jansen's forces that are attacking you, they just walk over anything, including like actual machines, and destroy them, trample them. And he's like, Jesus Christ, man, what are you feeding those elephants over there? So that's why I went elephant. Okay, I've reached my population. Kill some people off so I can build more elephants. Because you need guys to man the elephants. Yeah, you need guys to man the elephants, right? So you have 2 elephants. You have the war elephant, bit slower but more armor. And then you've got the tower elephants, and they are the more traditional ones you might have seen in India back in the day. The little kind of I don't know what you call it, the little platform on the top where the guys literally sit on there, and royalty would be taken about in them back in the day. They are kind of like your mobile snipers, if you like. So you want some of them to shoot the guys in the distance. So I'm building all these elephants here, and Jansen's like, listen, I'm going to wait for you to come and attack me. And I'm like, okay, I won't say anything. I was like, okay, what am I going to do here, Trev? And then you can upgrade your building. So I actually went to the building that makes elephants, and I could upgrade the armor for the elephants and their effectiveness. I went, right, upgrade armor. And I was like, thank you, Jansen, for not coming back to attack for a while, because I've managed to basically just make my elephants even more hardcore and staunch. And I'm coming for you. So at this point, nothing's happening for a while. And I went, screw this. I'm making like 30, 40 elephants. I'm talking to Jansen the whole time. Like, we're like pals, and of course we're pals. And I'm like, yeah, what are you up to, Jansen? This whole time, I'm getting my elephants around the wrong way, the long way of the map, up, round the back and the top. And then, yeah, what's that you're saying, Jansen? Yeah. And I start busting up the side of one of his walls. They bust up walls as well. And he's like, oh, you sneaky son of a... But the whole time, he's sending some of his stealth guys over the side to smash me up. Luckily, I kept a small amount of elephants back in the base. And I'm like, I've almost smashed him up. I'm going to ruin him. So I'm going round, smashing up things. And we're silent for ages, not saying anything. And then just when I think, I'm going to do him, it said defeat for me. And I was like, what? Why are you... What? I've got 10 million elephants. How defeat? And then Jansen went, all I need to do is destroy 3 of your landmarks. And that's your main buildings, not just any buildings. And what happened was he was seconds away from losing himself. I had a small amount of elephants, which were a bit slower. I was chasing after his little vehicles to smash them up. He had like 2 left, one with quarter health, one with half health. If I'd smashed him up just in time, he would have had no forces left, and I had like 20 plus elephants left at the end, with healers in the midst of them boosting up their health, And I was like, you son of a gun, man, you jammy bastard that you are. And he's just smiling and cheesing away with himself. You missed yourself, Gray, but we will go back to it. What was your opinion on it, Gray, in the time that you had in it?
I've played RTS games for years, so I played the old Age of Empires 1 and 2 and
me too.
3,
yeah.
and I played Civilization 4, 5, 6, and the 7's come. Well, 7 actually I think is out already.
It is, but apparently not finished.
Yeah, they're getting some mixed reviews and stuff, but they did. But to their credit, though, they said they're taking everybody seriously. And they're going to put out a major update to...
Great. Civ 6 is free on Game Pass at the moment. That's maybe the better shout.
Sorry?
Yeah. Civ 6 is still really, really good.
Yeah,
Civ 6
I
played. I have Civ 6. I played it.
So I said to Jazz, I said, listen, I like this game, I enjoy it, but it's limited, it's limiting. You can't go past age 4. I said, is there games like you can do that? And he went, well, I touched on this before. He went, yeah, Civilization's one of them. But then we were looking into it more, and I went, there's that Anno game. I've heard of Anno 1800. And we went Googling, right? The full price MSRP is too expensive at the moment. No, Matt, it's not turn-based. Thank God. I will not play a turn-based game. I not just know that is too much. Nope.
Yeah, I like turn-based games as well. I'll play them all.
Oh, no, I can't. So, we're looking at Anno, and it's still really expensive. But if you go to CD Keys, a lot of the Anno games are under £10, $10 as well. And there's so many Anno games, we need to look into this more.
Anno's turn-based, isn't it? Like Civ, it's turn-based.
Is it? Is it?
I think so.
Oh, okay, I might not then.
So Anno and Civ are 4X games, so they're quite different from RTS, like Age of Empires.
XCOM's like that. They're turn-based.
I love both of them, but
me too.
Yeah, very different games.
Play Desperados 3. Desperado 3 is fun. That's turn-based, but it's all Western.
No.
Pretty cool.
Can you get an Age of Empires type game, but with expanding to the future, current times and the future?
Yeah, Civ. Civilizations.
No, Civ is turn-based. I don't want turn-based.
So an RTS game no. So typically they're just. I mean, the fact that you can even change eras at all in Age of Empires is quite unique. If you want to play a future game, you've maybe got something like Total Annihilation or what's the other one?
Command and Conquer, but that's older.
Well, you
Command and
can
Conquer.
go way back to what was it? Microsoft did League of Nations, not League of Nations. Oh God, I can't remember. Rise of Nations.
Sounds like a really piss.
I think it's Rise of Nations or something like that.
Huh.
These are older
Rise
games.
Of Nations. Yeah.
They're pretty good. Well, yeah, but Civilization is not really. I mean, it's not strict turn-based. It's I don't know what to call it.
It's definitely turn-based, Gray.
It is. It is, but it doesn't feel like it as much sometimes because they do different things.
That's a good sign then.
A lot of cool things with the graphics.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give it more patience and more time then, because when I looked at Anno, it looks stunning. There's so many versions of Anno, it's ridiculous. There's one that looks like it's in the future. I'm wanting something Age of Supreme Commander.
That's the
good
one.
Shout. Yeah, that looks interesting.
Sorry, that's very good. Get Supreme Commander 2. It's pretty old now, but it's still epically fun.
I played both those games to death. The Supreme Commanders were fun. That was fun. And if I remember right, that was one of the first games where you could zoom way out and way
out. Yeah, get a whole sort of tactical view of the whole map. Oh, it's wicked.
Boys, that's a downside of Age of Empires. You can't zoom out that far, which sucks. It's really annoying. But see, listen, if you download the 4K texture pack, it's bigger than the bloody game by quite a bit. It's hilarious, but it looks stunning when you zoom right in. Maybe I'll give Anno a chance in the future. I think Jansen and I were talking about maybe downloading one or two of them, seeing how we go. I mean, if it's under a tenner, what you're losing, really, if you don't like it, not much. And it looks stunning. A game like that, where you can go through like Age of Empires, but with turns in it, maybe I can do it. We'll see.
The way it works, Trev, is everyone has like a time limit for the turn. So if you've got 5 of you playing, you all just have a time limit. Let's say it's a minute, but it is still technically turn-based. So it's not kind of like, like Age of Empires, where you could just go and do whatever you want, put your units over here, units over there. It's all like, you make a move, that's done. We wait, that's my next move, there's my next move.
But you can, at the start, when you're setting up the game, agree on the timer length, so you could make it less if you want. Yeah, exactly. That's maybe better. You don't want, and then if you play an online game with people, not like with your pals, you would have to have a strict turn-based would be the way to go, actually, because otherwise, how do you make it fair? So yeah, no, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I'm never going another Empire apart from the endings again. But now Jansen knows. He didn't know which of my landmarks were, so it took him that long to smash them up. But now he knows that I know that he knows that I'm going to literally now just build bloody walls around my landmarks, and he's screwed. And I'm just going to send 20 million elephants after him to bust his ass up.
Well, I'll build a load of artillery and just fire them over your walls.
But then when he tried the same thing. He had artillery, he had the trebuchets, he had every. But the thing is, with trebuchets, I would just send my elephants in, and I would just click again beyond where they are, and it would just walk over them and crush them. That shouldn't be allowed, mate. I think that's
a little
it shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah.
There must be a counter to elephants. There must be, because these whole games are just based around rock, paper, scissors, right?
One of the civilizations.
Apparently online, there's not.
Yeah, but one of those civilizations probably have something that's
true.
better
Possibly,
than elephants. Like I don't know if it goes as far as the elephant gun, but when the elephant gun was created, it took down elephants. That's what it was for. I mean, it was a big, hard to handle gun, but it was made to, to kill elephants.
Yeah.
Me and some of my friends, we do a yearly LAN, Franco Maximo being one of them, and we play Supreme Commander 2, and it's a big hit. I think
I might try that, mate.
Is it as many as 8 people that can play at once? I think
I forget, but
we should get a game going, guys. It's be super fun.
I'm surprised they haven't gone back to that and made a new one or something
the
after all these
one?
years.
I mean, it's still quite old, Supreme Commander 2,
old.
But it really holds up. Honestly, it's a fun game, especially a fun game to play with a bunch of friends.
It looks like a futuristic Command and Conquer, and I wouldn't really playing Command and Conquer remastered as well. I think the only way we've got a chance of Gray playing Command and Conquer with us is to play the remaster, because he's such a visual snob, more so than me, which is saying something.
Yeah,
so
depends.
we might look into that, mate.
I can go backwards only so far though.
But I'll see if we can get a cheap key for it, or something, and then we'll see how we go. But yeah, that's basically our kind of, not a review. I don't really like to do reviews of games. I like to, as an old colleague of ours used to say, tell stories about games. And I think I just did that there with my elephant smashing Jansen up, and I almost embarrassed the Age of Empires master, because he's not master. He's played it a lot more than me. So yeah, that's me. That's me for my end, Mr. Grit.
Cool. All right, we're going to go on to a little bit more tech news. I picked up or spotted out an article that I couldn't believe what I was reading. I thought I'd seen a lot of computers out there that are very expensive and basically made, supercharged and the whole 9 yards, like Tar would know. And then I saw this article and I was going like, what? And it says a powerful PC with 7 liquid-cooled NVIDIA 5090s in one computer. In one computer. So you're talking about something that's just insanely powerful. I'm sitting there trying to figure out how the hell they get 7 into the case.
It's $100,000. Sorry. Oh, spoiler. I'm so sorry.
No,
that just came out of my mouth. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's fine. Yeah, $102,000 if you can afford it. But I was really surprised. So they call it workstations. You can call it whatever you want. I mean, having 7 of these things is like way, way, way overkill. But the impressive thing is that they actually did get 7 and water cooled them all into a tall tower. So
I mean, if you're using it for AI, it's going to just absolutely crush it.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, you're talking about a lot of RAM besides everything else. You should be able to play games at like 1,000 FPS, no problem.
Yeah, I don't think it works like that anymore, Greg.
I don't know. But I was just kind of like, it says it's 3 times the price of MIFCOM's Big Boss, which had 7 liquid-cooled 4090s. I think I'm going to get that one. How much could that be?
How did someone even get hold of 7 5090s?
I don't know.
Yeah, they took the whole of the USA's allocation of 5090s, by the sounds of things.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, in the article, they said that this computer is in stock now. Yeah, that's because we don't sell that many of them. It's $102,000. I mean, come on. It's not even worth buying it and then tearing out the 5090s and selling them individual to see if you can make a profit. It still it wouldn't work. Yeah, so, but I thought that
is that the picture of it there? I was expecting the chassis to be a lot bigger.
That's what I thought too. So I was wondering, like, where are they packing the cards? I mean, it's like
where are all those cards? Yeah,
I don't know. I'm wondering whether this picture is not really the picture. I don't know. It says it is, but it just says liquid cooled ByzanTech, case AMD workstation, but it didn't say that they're really in there. But you would think they would be, right? But
I mean, that doesn't even have space for. I'm only seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Space for about 5 cards there.
Yeah. I don't understand how they're getting 7. Maybe they're all taped to the other side of the computer. You just can't see them.
Yeah,
maybe. A bunch of duct tape holding a couple of cards.
Really quickly, guys. Side tangent. Supreme Commander 2 is only £3.19 from CD Keys, by the way, and I've just bought it. Just bought it, mate.
Amazing.
Anyway, I just thought I'd bring that one up.
I can't wait for that.
I thought that was just insane when I saw that. Now, here's another great thing that I think is crazy. And this is something I used to kid about, and this person really did it. And I used to always kid around going like, yeah, don't worry if your card is hot or your computer's hot. You just stick an air conditioning unit next to it and blow the cold air. You'll have no problem. So what did this guy create? He created a 4090 liquid cool with a 12,000 BTU air conditioner inside. And I'm
Wow.
looking at this
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
and it is an air conditioner, and it's sitting next to the computer and connected by a tube, and stuff. And this is a little 12,000 BTU real air conditioner that you would use to cool your home. And I'm going like, yeah, man, now this is what you're talking about. So I'm sitting there looking at this thing, and he said if he couldn't put a 5090 in there because the water blocks aren't available yet for it. So he went with the 4090. So I'm looking at this thing going like, yeah, that's definitely something I would like to have. I mean, can you imagine? He said it keeps the temperature down to 20 centigrade. 20
I think
or Celsius.
Linus Tech Tips did something like this, and it was not easy. All the condensation and
Well, the thing is,
it was
from what
really tough.
From what I'm understanding, this guy's got it down, and you can buy the unit. Apparently, I guess, or maybe he's going to start trying to sell the unit. I'm not really sure. But I was just like really thrown by that one. I thought that was just great. I mean, I would if I had money to burn, I would get one of those just because it's cool. I mean, come on, have an air conditioner next to your computer and go like, yeah, man. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I'd rather just run it without the air conditioner and just use it to heat my house.
There you go. So I thought that was pretty cool. I really, there's some smart people out there that like to push push the envelope and see how far they can get with some of this stuff.
It's very cool. I like that a lot.
The next thing is I found this comment just by pure luck, and when I was looking at something for Sniper Elite Resistance, which I'm playing and having a blast with, like I mentioned last time. And this is a quote from Digital Foundry, this guy Oliver McKenzie. And I want to see if you guys can read between the lines like I did on this quote. So he goes, and this is in reference to what they're doing on this update with Sniper Elite Resistance. He goes, fortunately, performance is strong, logging a solid 60 FPS on higher-end consoles and a locked 30 FPS on Series S. That consistent update is a bit of a breath of fresh air and comes without caveats or compromises. So, are you reading between the lines on this one like I think I am? When you read something like that in terms of gaming and what we've been talking about?
Yeah, pretty much.
So pretty much what I'm saying is we got into a whole...
Those guys know what they're talking about.
Right, exactly. And we got into a whole discussion last week. I was telling Tarl on the podcast. It was a great discussion. I mean, we were going at it with how much we hated this whole idea. Well, let's lock a GTA 30 on the... And I'm going like, what? And so when you look at this and you see a small group come out with something that they can actually sit there and get a solid 60 with no issues and locking 30 at no issues. And yet GTA goes like, well, we're shooting for 30, and I'm going like, if they're doing 60, you should be able to do something, or at least, whatever, 45, anything. So that was more of a comment by somebody, by a company, by a group that knows their stuff. And they're telling you that, look, it's a bit of breath of fresh air without caveats or compromises. He's directly talking about how some of these places aren't doing this, aren't locking it at a good FPS, or aren't even trying, or come up with excuses. And yet it's being done. So again,
but is it being done to the same level of like visual fidelity at 60 frames per second?
Yeah. But this is a game that doesn't really... I'm not going to say it doesn't really need it, but what I'm saying is Sniper Elite Resistance has never been Unreal Engine 5 type game. I always like to say it's a 2.5 star game, a 2.5 star game, not a 3-star or full game AAA, full A, I should say, AAA. It's not a AAA, but I go 2.5A because it's damn good, and it's just not quite a AAA on the graphics. So you basically you don't care because you get the game for other reasons. So it doesn't even need it in my head because it is what it is, and yet they do it anyway. So you mean to tell me like something that's much bigger they can't do that? The other thing too, when we started talking about GTA 6 last week, I found out some new stuff. I was talking to Tarl off the air about it, but I had read, and again, this is rumor now, that GTA 6 is costing between $1 billion to $2 billion to create.
Got to say it like that. Remember,
exactly.
Got to say it like that.
But I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I go like, wow, people were yelling at Star Citizen, which has been up to about 3/4 of $1 billion, but that's over a bunch of years. So they're saying that it costs between 1 and 2. I'm sorry, I don't care how involved GTA 6 is. I can't imagine it being. I'll give them the 1 billion. I can't imagine it actually being 2 billion to build. That
Where would all that money go?
Exactly. It's just insane. I mean, I know. And then the other thing that they said is they fully expect for GTA 6 to make 3.2 billion in sales in the first year. In the first year, let alone anything after that.
Oh yes.
And remember that's not PC. And I also saw some new comments about the GTA 6. And they're talking about, oh well, you know, when it comes to and by the way, I'm thanking Trev for showing this article to me. But as I started reading the article, I'm going like, I'm hearing the usual excuses where they go like, well, you know, our history shows that, you know, that we've done this in the past where we come out with these games, GTA and whatnot, out on, you know, a console first, and we follow what we do, and then we put it on PC later. So you can expect to see it on PC, but they're trying to tell you that don't hope on seeing it for quite a while because this is the way we do it. And I'm going like, well, it shouldn't be the way you do it. You should put it on a PC too, as well, all at the same time, like lots of other companies do. And if they're so worried about making their money back in the first year, because I also read another article that said that the reason why the price of the game GTA 6 might even get to $100 is they said that this is a strong quote from a guy in the company without naming the person. They said that Rockstar or whatever wants to get back all their money in 24 hours. Yeah. And they said they're going to charge $100 to get there. And I'm going like, man, we're talking greedy again. I mean, ultra
People
greedy.
will pay it.
Well, are they being greedy, Great? If they only charge, if say, argument's sake, they only charge the £70, $80 price that everyone else is charging at the moment. Say the argument's sake, they charge that same price again. Mm-hmm. I don't think they are being greedy because they're just making an amazing product that people want to buy. As long as it's not like £100, $100 game default standard edition. If they do that, then they're greedy, my man. I agree with you then, but
I can guarantee if they come out of the game at 100, everybody else is going to start raising their prices and stay that way and never.
Oh, of course, well, we discussed that, yeah.
So it's going to kill us.
People won't pay that kind of price for a game that's not good, surely.
Oh, it will be good.
Disposable income.
No, I'm not talking about GTA here. I'm talking about all the other studios that will then rise their prices.
True.
You know,
True.
If GTA 6 comes out and it's like, you know, 100% game, everyone says it's absolutely off the scale, amazing, then people will definitely pay £100 and dollars for it. No question. But
yeah, just for that game, if other companies raise their prices by that amount, you're right, they won't, because it'll be a one-off for Rockstar.
But they've already said all the companies are already banking on the fact that if it does come out at 100 and it is good, they're all going to start raising their prices.
But they won't bank on shit because if it's not worth £100, people aren't going to pay £100. And then they've got a game that they've spent, 3 years developing and $100 million making. And
I guess longer than 3 years.
I guess it depends on the game because you did. I don't know if you guys saw the article on Kingdom Come Deliverance, the new one too. They made back all their money and broke even in 24 hours. They sold 1 million copies. They've already recovered. That's like
I think you just have to look at that list that you showed earlier, Trev, with the 15 or 20 games. These were some big games that have all been released in the last year or 6 months, and they're all the prices are all slashed. Big price discounts.
Oh yeah.
And if a game was selling consistently at its RRP and people kept on paying it, then there's no reason for them to bring the price down.
This is why there's so many remasters, because game studios are scared shitless of making flops, because look at Suicide Squad. That's just one of many examples of games that have failed, and this is why Sony... what was the other one? Concord? Wow.
Yeah, the one that came out and was just shut down within a month or something.
Yeah, not even that, 2 weeks, mate.
Yeah.
Done. It was awful. So Sony have been burned by this.
And we can go on and on about that because all the smaller guys are putting out better game and Shrouded, blah, blah, blah. So we know that you can do it with a small group better than AAA companies. But,
ideas cost money, Great. Ideas cost a lot of money. This is why the top writers or the top game designers in the world get paid or should get paid a lot more, because they're the guys that actually deserve it, in my opinion.
Well, eventually AI will be writing all that, so anyway.
Probably. probably.
Anyway,
God, I hope
that's just a couple of things I wanted to throw out there just to think about. A couple of things on the gaming front. There's going to be the game Avowed has been talked about for quite a while. And that apparently is coming out real soon. So that's going to be an interesting game.
Is it not out now, mate? I saw people play it on Twitch.
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
it's like streamer early access, or it's on Game
Yeah,
Pass. But
early
is it like
access.
if you bought it, you get early access? Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't loaded that game. The other one was Eternal Strands. That's out on Game Pass now. I'm hoping to play that and either report on it next week or the week after because I keep hearing some good things about that too. So we'll see. Oblivion is very interesting. Oblivion is the game that came out before Skyrim, and apparently this is the remake of Oblivion. And I've been hearing a lot of good things about that.
How about that?
Some people, think that Oblivion was better than Skyrim.
Oh, it 100% is better, no question.
Is it? Because avid Skyrim people
fight.
don't say that. But I don't. But see, when I jumped into the series, I jumped in on Skyrim. I didn't know about the others.
Oblivion is the last good Bethesda game.
Okay, that's saying a lot. You mean what about Mass Effect?
All right, okay, fine.
Okay, you got to throw those.
All right, yeah.
Good.
Fight.
You caught me on that one.
I know.
I can't back up my words. I'm sorry. Mass Effect was good.
They're saying that Avowed is similar-ish to an Oblivion kind of game. Not the same, but similar-ish. It's an RPG set in the Pillars of Eternity universe. Which I don't know if you played Pillars of Eternity or not. I played some. So it's got a lot of hype on it. So I'm wondering, just how good it is. So I'm gonna have to check it out and see what's.
Oblivion was the last good fantasy-based game from Bethesda. There you go. That's it.
Okay. Do you want to go that way? I'm looking forward to it because if it's remade and it looks really good, I want to play it because I loved Skyrim. So if Oblivion can look a little better than the old one, I'll play it. They're talking about it. I don't think they didn't really say when. I think they're shooting for this year, but it's going to probably be more towards the end of the year.
The change between Oblivion and Skyrim was quite big, in my opinion. Oblivion was the kind of game where it let you do what you wanted to do. There was no hand holding, whereas Skyrim really started to make things a bit more linear, and all the spells were kind of a lot more kind of condensed, and you can do anything in Oblivion. You could use whatever spells with whatever character and much more.
I'm looking forward to it because if it's like you're telling me, and I've also read as well, I'm looking forward to playing it because I would think that'd be very cool.
If you like complex RPGs that don't hold your hand and let you do pretty much whatever you want, then Oblivion is the granddaddy, I think.
I like those. I've gotten so used to games like, in some respects, Horizon Zero Dawn or God of War, where generally speaking, you can run around almost anywhere and look for stuff. Not always. Some of them are a wee bit linear. But generally speaking, you can go wherever you want. Or in some of the bigger games, like Far Cry and some other ones where you just go wherever you want to go. I can't stand, I played Space Marine 2, and a lot of people have said that that's a great game. And I did play it, about a third of the game, I think. I'm not going to say it's a bad game, but the problem is that it's so linear that I was like wanting to go off to the right or to the left to maybe look for something. And wow, you couldn't go far at all. I mean, you just went and it just stops you. And maybe it's just me, or maybe I just don't look at it the same way anymore. But I just felt that was so limiting. I love the gunplay. I love the characters. I love the universe. I love the enemies. But it was kind of like, here, let me put you in this box. You can't go any further than the walls of the box, and all these hordes are going to come flying at you from the front. And I'm like, okay, but after a while, you get tired of that, man.
If I'm playing an RPG, I want to do what I'm the character in an RPG. I'm the main character. I want to play it how I want to play it. So games like Baldur's Gate 3, was an absolute masterpiece, and you didn't have to do anything in the order that they wanted you to. You could go here, you could go there, any order you want, and
I think that's the way it should be always.
Yeah, I think that's why some of the survival games that we've been playing, Trav and I and a couple other people, when you're used to that and you're able to go anywhere you want, more or less, and do anything you want to do, you have a lot more fun that way, especially in co-op. And then when you play a game like Space Marine 2, where everything has just gone from this big to all the way down to whoop. You're just kind of like, the first thing I felt was like, is there something wrong with the game? I thought there was something wrong. So I went to the right and I stopped, then to the left, stop. And then to make it even more confusing, there was some ammo crates that you could get more ammo from, but there was only like one or two, and they were just like, it's one over here, there's one over here. It's like, who cares? And then you just go over there and you go like, oh, I can get an ammo crate, but everywhere else I can't get shit. So it's like, give me a break. I said, I want to be able to do what I want to do. So when you get used to those kind of games, you know, even in Assassin's Creed and other games like that, when it's open world, truly open world, that was the problem with the Star Wars Outlaws, because they kept on saying that, it's going to be an open world, just like Ubisoft always does with their other games. It's going to be, and when you got to play the game, it was really semi-open. I mean, there were spaces where you could ride around that was cool, but then it would just like, you can't go here, and you can drive this far, but you can't go farther than this. And I'm like, well, that's a waste of time. I mean, you know, I want to be able to get somewhere, you know, or do something.
If it's a story-driven game, I'm quite happy with it being linear, and I'm quite happy with being told, you know, where to go, but not in a role-playing game.
Right, but it has to be like, well, because God of War, for an example, you could say it's linear. It's not really linear because there's a lot of things you can do. But like you said, the story is so good and makes so much sense of what you have to do and why you have to do it that you don't care about the linearity to it.
You're there for the story, right? That's
and
the type of game it is.
It's a stellar game, right? It's a stellar game. But if you're just sitting there going like, well, I'm going to kill hordes of enemies, and then I'm going to go to the next thing, I'm going to kill hordes of enemies, and then I'm going to go to the next thing and kill bigger hordes of enemies, and I can't go to the right or left. It's just like, I mean, why would you bother then changing anything? Just stick me in one arena, and I'll just keep on shooting things, you know, the entire time. I don't have to do anything else. But anyway, that's just my opinion on some of that stuff. The next article I wanted to bring up, let's see how we're doing on time. Oh, we're like getting ready to the end of the show. Almost. We got a few minutes.
Oh, can we fit this last one in? Because this was really interesting. I read this and I was just like...
Which one?
The Steam Virtual Lan Party.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's what I was going to go on to. All right, we got a couple quick minutes, so we'll go on to that real fast. I thought this was interesting because I'm old enough to remember LAN parties. Some of you guys probably remember some of them too, but I remember
they still happen
really
now, Gray. Okay.
So I figure, you know, but it's kind of died out because you're online now and everything, and you know, no reason to go to a LAN party. But now a virtual LAN party is an idea about Steam, and they're basically created a LAN party app to bring players together in a virtual environment and share all the streams, but all in one place. So it's kind of like it's got most of the characteristics of a LAN party, but you don't have to truck your machine everywhere like we used to. We used to throw the machine in the car, then drive to the LAN party or whatever. So you don't have to do that. But LAN Party Technologies, name right, has announced that its LAN Party app will be coming soon to Steam in early access. The app includes the ability to create personalized avatars and gaming spaces in a virtual 3D environment. So this sounds like a lot of fun, guys. I mean, if it's what they say it is, I think we can have a blast with this. It doesn't appear that LAN Party is meant to replace traditional gaming streams. Instead, it allows users to include streams from outside sources in the virtual room where they appear on their avatar's computer screens. Players aren't limited to a single game, and they can pick up all their own titles to enjoy while sharing the experience through the app. So again, I got to see it work and see if it's going to be as good as it sounds.
I love a good old fashioned LAN party. I used to go some of the biggest in the UK, Insomnia, in Birmingham. I love them. I genuinely love them. I'm so sad that it's not a thing anymore. Really am.
Yeah, and it hasn't been a thing here for a long time. But when I used to go to them, virtually it would just be a friend or something like that, or a friend of a friend of a friend, and the word got around. And you went to a house, and there's like 8 or 10 computers set up in this big living room, and we're all playing. But then it was like a big deal. And it was like, well, this is cool.
Great. How did you have a LAN party back in the Stone Ages anyway? Did you just bring like your stones round or something and play with them?
We had a hamster running on a wheel to generate the electricity for the machines.
Got you. Yeah.
Now the only bummer about reading this article, because I'm thinking like, ooh, this is great. When can we do it? Is early access coming? LAN Party doesn't currently have even a date for its early access launch. So I'm like, oh man, you set me up for something great. Now you tell me you don't have a date. But I'm going to stay on top of this because we need to see what this is going to be about.
I think what I'd be interested in knowing is it just like a metaverse type situation where you've just got, a 3D avatar, or is it actually allowing a number of people to have, bring all of their games together in a, probably on like a virtual private network, that kind of thing.
I mean, the way that
is there a technical backbone to it?
Right. The way they're explaining it, it seems that that's what it's going to be. So I'm sitting there going like, wow, that's a big undertaking. I mean, if they can actually pull this off. So it'll really be interesting. I'm glad they're doing early access because they're bound to have bugs or problems and things. All, together as a community iron them out or whatever. But I hope it's this year. I hope they go into early access this year. But again, they have no announcement of a date. So we just got to hang out and see what happens. But,
I'll keep my eye on this one. Should be interesting.
No doubt. I definitely want to keep an eye on it. All right, we have a couple other things we're gonna. I was gonna try to get to the quiz, but we only have like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we got time for the quiz.
All right, I'll do it real quick. Question 1: First scene in Mortal Kombat 2. Who is the person who pops up at the bottom of the screen after a player lands a well-timed uppercut? Double points if you can answer what he says and who he is. Guesses? I have no clue.
I can't. It's going to piss me off. He is. He's the guy that literally invented it and made the game. He is the head of the studio. He says "Toasty" at the bottom.
All I know is "Toasty."
Yeah, he pops in from the side of the screen and he does something cool. He goes "Toasty."
I've heard that, but I didn't know it came from that.
Yeah, he is. I will hopefully get half a point for that because he did say bonus points, but I don't remember his name. He is. As soon as you say it, I'll be like, God,
he's definitely one of the guys that made the game, but I don't know which one.
He's the main guy. He is the guy that the director, whatever you want to call him.
All right, let's check it out. I'm going to reveal the answer over here. Okay, it says the character who pops up at the bottom when you perform an uppercut is Dan Forden, one of the game's sound designers. He says "Toasty" in a high-pitched voice.
Toasty!
So you're kind of right. It was the sound designer.
So I thought he was the main director guy. He's not. He's one of the sound guys, which I didn't know. So half a point. Damn. Right,
okay.
That's cool.
All right, question 2. In Borderlands 2, we were talking about Borderlands 4 a minute ago. In Borderlands 2, there's a gun called the Seraphim. The weapon was infamous for having a glitch. What did the glitch cause it to do?
Don't have a clue. I'm going to guess.
No idea.
You didn't have to reload or something.
Clipped through the nearest wall.
Sounds good. All right, let's see what it is. I have no clue either. And I played this stupid game. All right, hold on. It says the weapon was infamous for having a glitch that caused it to shoot out additional guns. Wow, that's cool.
What?
So it's a gun shooting guns.
It was a gun shooting gun.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
I
like
that. Meta.
Okay.
That's cool. All right.
So Jansen had done this quiz, was it not?
Sorry?
Jansen done this quiz, yes.
Jansen submitted all the questions. He came and said, can I submit the questions? I said, yeah, sure.
Yeah, but so you should have been giving us your answer, what you think the answer is, Greg, but you haven't done that yet.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And the next one I think I know, but that's okay. The last question is, what is the most expensive physical copy of a game ever sold? What is the most expensive physical copy of the game ever sold? Now, the only problem with this question
is price, not game.
I'm going to go by the fact of what the game sold for years later at auction. And if that's the case, then it's got to be a Mario game from Nintendo because they sold.
I think it's
whatever
Mario 64.
Yeah, like $100,000 or $1 million.
No. It was like 1.6 million or something. It was wild. Okay. I think the person before it sold it for like 200K, and then the next person flipped it 2 years later for like 1.6 million.
Nice return.
Okay, I had no clue. I was going to say like $30-something $1,000, so I have no clue then.
All right, let's see what it comes out.
I would say 32 or something.
The answer is the most expensive physical copy of a game ever sold is a sealed copy of Super Mario Brothers. Ding, ding, ding for us. For the NES, it was auctioned for $2 million in August 2021.
Or more commonly known as the NES if you're cool, and the SNES, NES.
So there we go. So at least we got one.
Wow.
We got one. That's not too bad.
That's well done, Jansen. Jesus Christ, man. Don't show any mercy at all. Well, okay, Jesus, man.
I was surprised when he came to it. It was the last second. Can I do the questions? Like, oh, yeah, sure. And he did it.
You can do whatever you want, man. Yeah, because that means Greg doesn't know the answer then.
I knew one, but that was it. The other one's nah. Anyway, we must move along. So we appreciate everybody listening. Remember to tune in about 48 hours or so, and you will see the video version of this where we put in additional stuff. It's not just video. Sometimes we actually put some additional things in there too. So I'll be looking for that in about 48 hours or so, and the audio will be going as you're listening right now. You've already got it. so there. So take care. Thanks, guys, and we will see you all
Bye.
again very soon. So let's play this thing and see if it'll. Oh, see, now we can talk and dance. Our usual. Come on, Trav, get into it. Last time, Trav, you put your eyeball all the way up to the camera. This time you took off. Oh, he's back there. Oh, nice going. Oh, nice back. No, he's done. All right, guys. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.